Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
We've seen Morbius so that you don't have to. This is our non-spoiler review because we get nerdy nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
That is right. Don't waste your money.
Seriously, don't. I'm going to stop you right now. If you're like, wow, I'm thinking of going to see a movie, go see anything else.
Literally. Go see, what's in theaters right now that's good? Go see X if you want an
Lost
adult
City.
movie. Oh, The Lost City's fun.
Lost City is great.
Anything?
Anything.
Don't go to the movies.
Yeah.
Morbius is a movie from Sony's Marvel Characters Universe, whatever they're calling it now. It is directed by Daniel Espinosa. It is written by Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless. Mm-hmm. And to the three of you, I say I blame you for putting me through this.
Yeah, why? Why would you put this together and be like, yeah, that's good?
I have not disliked a movie so much in so long.
Yeah.
Like, this genuinely was one of my least favorite movie-going experiences of the last 10 years.
Yeah, I think that's valid.
And honestly, it feels like a script that was written in 2000. I said this in the movie because we were just chatting because our theater was basically empty, so no one could hear us anyway. I turned to you and I was like, it feels like the script was written in 2004.
Yeah.
They, like, blew the dust off of it, and then they just filmed it.
Yeah. They're like, you know what? This is probably fine. We won't bother, like, going over it. It just, yeah. Our theater was probably 10% full, if even that.
No. There were 250 seats in that theater, and there were less than 20 people. There's no way we were at 10%.
I thought there were about 20 people. In this giant IMAX theater.
Maybe 20. So Morbius tells the story of Michael Morbius. If you read Marvel Comics, you know him as Morbius, the living vampire, a Spider-Man villain who's a bad guy. But in this, Jared Leto is playing him as a weird, like, anti-hero. He's a doctor. He's the greatest doctor on Earth. He
invents fake blood, basicwe.
This isn't a spoiler because this happens
right away. It's like one of the first things you learn.
Well, you never see it happen. It's by when we meet him at the beginning of the movie, this has already happened.
Yeah.
He has created a synthetic blood product that is so ubiquitous throughout the entire film that everybody has access to it.
Yeah. And
it's baffling because
it's like sliced bread.
He should be the richest human on the planet. He created the single most useful thing ever.
And spoiler alert, kind of, he's not the richest person on the planet. And it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Nothing
really makes sense.
But he goes to Costa Rica. He gets a bunch of bats. Mm-hmm. This is all in the trailer. He brings them back to New York. He conducts an experiment on himself on a boat off the coast of New York.
Long
Island. And he becomes the living vampire Morbius.
Yeah.
Then the plot becomes insane because we learn...
it was already insane. Like, the opening...
Up until then, I was kind of on board. It's not great. Like, it wasn't good, but I was on board. I was like, okay, like, he conducts an experiment, he becomes the living vampire. They could have done something interesting from there to the end of the movie, and I could have enjoyed it.
All right.
That, like, him becoming... If they had to, like, trip a little bit into him becoming Morbius so that they could, like, get that over quickly so that they could get to the story they wanted to tell, I could have forgiven that.
Fair enough.
The problem is that the rest of the movie is
even worse.
It takes place over the course of, like, 5 days.
Yeah.
It feels like it takes place over the course of, like, 2 because things just happen.
Yeah, it feels so fast. It's like
we're not going to spoil anything in this video, but we are going to put out a spoiler review because I want to yell at the internet about how bad this movie is.
Yeah, but it literally feels like you put your kid on their tricycle for the first time ever and push them down a hill, and they just keep going and going and going, and they can't get their feet on the pedals. Like, and I was like, wow, this is rude. It's rude.
Yeah. Thankfully, there are some fun performances. If you do end up seeing this movie, there are things to enjoy. Matt Smith having a great time. There's an 11th reference for all of you Whovians. And
that was the best part of the movie.
Matt Smith is, it's the only time he left. Matt Smith is having a good time, and he's so delightful.
Yeah.
What's funny is that he is playing the character of Morbius from the comics. Mm-hmm. And I know you've heard me say this already like 3 times in the car, but it was so weird to have Morbius, the character, in the movie, but not be Morbius.
Yeah.
And for them to make Morbius the villain of the movie, change his name to nothing, because he's The naming thing is so dumb to me. Oh God, I just don't watch this.
Yeah.
There was an interview where Matt Smith literally said, like, I wasn't really sure who I was playing sometimes because the script was very confusing.
Well, and now it makes sense. And like, and we don't want to spoil it. I feel like that is a very like general, like vague overview of the performance and the characters. So we won't like dive into it, but yeah.
Surprisingly great.
Good.
Surprisingly great in this movie. Al Madrigal. Daily Show correspondent Al Madrigal might give the best performance in this film.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the most enjoyable to watch.
But he's paired up with Tyrese Gibson.
Who is so boring.
Who gives the worst performance of his career.
Yeah,
Tyrese Gibson, boring. I genuinely love you. I'm not shitting on you because I like dislike you.
He would pay for your dinner and like
I would go out for drinks with him, pay all night. Tyrese Gibson, I love your performances in the Fast and Furious movies. I think you're very funny.
Yeah.
You are bland as a freaking bucket of white paint in this movie because there's no reason for him to be in any scene. No. And every scene with him and Al Madrigal's given the funny lines.
Yeah.
They play two FBI guys who are constantly interviewing people throughout this movie, asking one question, not getting an answer, and going,
and then leaving.
Well, okay then. If you're not going to answer us, we're just going to go. And you're it happens like 3 times.
Yeah, they literally like do not try. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna go.
I don't even know what else.
We got stuff to do.
I don't know what else to say about this. Like,
no.
The post-credit scene, guys, come to the spoiler chat just to talk about the post-credit scene because
don't watch the movie and just come watch our spoiler chat instead because honestly, it's not worth watching. We will go over to our spoiler chat right now and we will tell you everything you need to know. That's it.
We will explain the whole film in the spoiler chat. And it will probably make more sense than it does watching the movie.
Yeah.
Because there's a moment in the movie where something happens and then there is an item left behind from a previous scene that implies that the thing that happens can't have happened. And it is so frustrating that this level of this lack of care about the continuity of a film with this level of a budget could possibly be so bad.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would forgive a lot of this if at least like the stage or like the fights were fun.
Yeah,
They're not.
They're not.
There's 2 of them. Neither of them are great.
They're kind of boring. The best like fighting or like effects you already saw in the trailer. So
all of the best moments in this movie are in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, which other than Matt Smith stuff because he's barely in the trailers, even though he's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. I wanted to call out these writers. Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless have written Dracula Untold.
No, they didn't.
It's a better vampire movie than this one.
True.
Which is not saying much. That movie's not good. They wrote The Last Witch Hunter.
I have also seen that one.
Not great movie.
Not great.
They wrote Gods of Egypt, which is...
Oh my god, I've also seen that one.
Gods of Egypt is one of the most offensive things I've ever watched in my entire life. They wrote 2017's Power Rangers, and then they took a 5-year break because I think Hollywood realized they don't write good movies, and then they wrote Morbius, which is all, like...
I don't know who let them do that.
They have written 5 $100 million movies, and all of them are bad and poorly received. Like, none of these have a good review.
Who keeps giving them money?
I don't. And like, look, I'm not like against them. I don't have like a personal vendetta against them, but like,
I don't know.
Gods of Egypt is hot garbage on top of being white people cast as Egyptians for some god awful reason. Power Rangers, I like parts of that movie, but it isn't great.
Yeah, I heard it was rough.
It mostly rides on my nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
Dracula Untold is literal nonsense.
Really bad.
And The Last Witch Hunter...
I saw that one in theaters, too.
I think Last Witch Hunter is the only... Oh, no, that's that Vin Diesel movie. No, that's also trash. Like...
Oh, that's not the movie I thought it was.
How are these two getting these scripts? Because they've never written a good movie.
Yeah, like who is... I don't know. Who read that and was like, yeah, let's put money behind it.
They have never written a positively reviewed film. In the past 8 years.
It's a lot of money they've been given without, like, something to back it up.
The scripts that they hand in before studio notes must be wildly different than what gets put on the screen.
Do they have, like... I'm like, are they 2 white guys?
Oh, yeah. It's Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless.
You're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
They're... Yeah, American screenwriters. It just seems like
they've just never written a good movie.
There's so many talented people out there in the world, and this is who you put your money behind. Good job.
And like, at what point does if they're really talented, if they are great screenwriters, at what point in every single film that they've made did the studio step in and ruin it? Because this movie feels like the studio made it even worse, right? It feels like this movie should be about 20 minutes longer. It feels like there's
stuff missing.
There is a chunk of this movie that is gone.
Yeah.
And it is a chunk that explains... I have a feeling there's an entire action sequence that's cut because there just isn't enough action in this movie for the type of film that it is.
Yeah.
And there is a leap in the romantic relationship between the two leads that I feel like is missing.
It's weird. It's
just bad. This movie is the worst movie I've seen in 10 years. This is my least favorite film since
Aragon.
Gods of Egypt.
Since Gods of Egypt. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, 2016. So this is my least favorite movie in the past. This is less offensive than Gods of Egypt.
Less offensive. Well, okay.
Well, you don't have a bunch of white people playing Egyptians.
Yeah, that's fair.
That helps.
Yeah, I guess you have that going for you, but that's not really a difficult thing to accomplish. Anyways, thanks for coming to this non-spoiler chat. I don't really know if there's much more that we can say other than like save your money.
Don't go see this. Here's the thing. Sony, I need this movie to fail miserably so that Sony never tries to take Spider-Man back from Marvel.
Yeah.
I need Sony to keep making money off Spider-Man, but let Kevin Feige be in charge of those movies, because if this is what happens, I like the Venom movies. They're not amazing, but I like the vibe. I think Tom Hardy's performance really sells them, and I think that they're funny. This movie's humorless. Jared Leto, on the week after he won a Razzie for giving the worst performance of last year, gives the most bland superhero performance of the last 5.
He was so boring.
It doesn't matter. What matters is that don't go see this movie. Let this movie be a financial failure so that Sony goes back to the drawing board and just lets Marvel make these films, because they clearly don't understand the characters. There is nothing from the comics in here. There is nothing related to the Morbius character outside of Matt Smith's character.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we used to get. This is what Fantastic Four 2 was.
Right.
Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Like, oh, the nerds want a movie.
We're going to make a comic book movie, but we'll ignore the comic books.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Yeah. And the post-credit scene ignores the movies that they make.
Absolute garbage. And we will get into that in the spoiler chat. So instead of watching the movie, just come watch our spoiler chat, because we're going to be putting that out.
Yeah, I'm upset. I'm sorry. Matt Smith, you did your job.
You deserve better.
To Matt Smith and Al Madrigal, the last person I thought I was going to be like, Al Madrigal deserves better than this. Al Madrigal, you were great. Yeah. You were legitimately, every time Al Madrigal was on screen, I was so grateful, because he was the best. Like, even I think he might have even beat Matt Smith here in terms of scene stealing. There's a couple of jokes he makes in this movie that I was like, that was like legitimately just Al Madrigal being really funny in a film that really needed it.
Yep.
But when your FBI agents are your comedic relief, woof.
Barely, though, and it's just the one. Oh, God, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm mad. I'm, like, upset.
I know.
I'm upset. This was trash. This was expensive trash.
Yeah.
And it would have been better off being tossed in the garbage.
The funniest part about it is we went and saw it in IMAX, which generally I'm like, okay, well, at least I'll get to, like, enjoy the visual experience of it, but it didn't even look that great.
I mean, when it was in focus, it was all right. 30% of the movie.
Yeah. The
special effects, honestly, though, I will say the face special effects were good.
The face stuff actually was good. Yeah. But a lot of the other stuff I was not.
The vampire facials, pretty well done. If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit that dislike button. Leave me comments down below. If you want to just rage about how bad this movie is, let us know in the comments down below. Or tell us that we're wrong. We're not. This was trash.
Yeah.
If you want to follow us around the internet, you can. I'm over at Nerdy Nightly.
I'm over at Claris Polaris.
And as always, y'all, do not go see this movie.
Please.
Wait, it'll be on streaming eventually. And then it'll be something that you shouldn't click on. Do something nerdy tonight.
Bye.
Bye.